Hey, George, Mani.
Good to meet.
Good to meet you. Welcome to Devoxx UK 2018. Is this your first Devoxx?
It is indeed, yes.
Yeah. How
yes.
are you finding it? What's your impression of Devoxx?
That's really good. It's,
Yeah.
there's a really good vibe here. There's lots of good companies. I've had a good chance to wander around, talk to some of the people on their stands, and raise awareness for some of the things I've been wanting to talk about. So
it's not just a Java conference; it's all kinds of other technologies.
Yeah, no, it's been good to see that actually. There's been a bit of Node, which is obviously in my heart.
Web stuff.
There's been a whole host actually. So yeah, it's been really good to see the broad sort of variety of languages here.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing, maybe about your talk as well, and
sure.
Give us an insight of what's happening in the community and in the space that you are currently busy in.
Sure. Okay. So I'm here today basically representing the AdoptOpenJDK project.
Okay.
So it's basically an initiative that was kind of started a couple of years ago, but we started a separate initiative about a year and a bit ago with the idea to build and eventually support OpenJDK binaries on a whole host of platforms, and to become a sort of centralized distributor of pre-built OpenJDK binaries that are all built to a sort of set standard. So I'm here today. Basically, I did a talk. The idea was just to raise a bit of awareness for the project because we're reasonably new, but I also wanted to sort of drum a bit of attention. I wanted to sort of see if anyone was interested in actually coming and contributing to the project, but also whether there were companies that were interested in either sort of paying for people to work on the project or to actually provide us with infrastructure. So did
you get like a good response from the crowd? Like, were they lively? Did they ask you questions?
Yeah, we had some positive feedback, to be fair. So
that's always good news.
Yeah, no, it's good. As I say, it's a pretty new project, but I think it's really exciting, and a huge amount's changed in a year and a half from where we really started. So we've got a really broad variety of build farm machines now. We've got some really large sponsorship deals with some pretty big companies. So
I mean, I remember this starting. Well, the project is 5+ years old. But it took really a big momentum in the last year and a half, as you mentioned. So what are the companies that are involved in this, and what are they doing? How are they contributing, and how's that helping them as a company, and how's that helping the community? So this is like a multiple questions all packed in one.
So I'm working for IBM. So I'm sort of representing IBM through AdoptOpenJDK. There's obviously a few reasons that we're interested, but one of the main reasons we are so interested in AdoptOpenJDK is because it allows us to provide a platform to ship basically our recently open sourced OpenJ9 project, which was the original IBM J9 compiler. So obviously IBM has a vested interest in making sure that the project runs smoothly, that we've got enough hardware there and we've got the resources. We've also got a few other companies that are sort of starting to work with us. We're in conversation with Microsoft over, machines. And there's other companies that are approaching us and saying, we want to throw resources at you if you can then basically continue to support OpenJDK 8, which is one of our sort of key goals. Once Oracle basically means that you have to pay to continue support with it. So
I see. So the one of the benefits is that when versions of Java run out of LTS or they're not supported by Oracle, then the community can help take that over. Although it's not written in stone yet, and they're working towards it, but that's looks like the roadmap and the goal.
Yeah, I think the goal of the project isn't to be maintaining an upstream repository. We don't want to be doing too much in that, but I think it's important to us that we stick with the extended lifetime support on OpenJDK 8. Because I think obviously a huge amount of people are holding back from upgrading to JDK 9 or JDK 10.
Yeah, I mean, support could be one of the reasons among other reasons that's not the context of our conversation now. I mean, so the other part of the question was how are the companies benefiting, like the ones who are contributing to the OpenJDK, and how else is the community benefiting in this context?
One of the main things for the people that provide us with machines, it obviously benefits us hugely. We couldn't run as a project without the infrastructure that we receive. But what it means, of course, is that we are running and building Java on those machines. So if we know that Java runs and passes test suites on these machines, we can go back to those infrastructure providers and say, well, we know that OpenJDK that we distribute runs perfectly well on your machine. And so obviously that's got a massive value add to big infrastructure as a service providers, because they want to basically ensure
that builds an additional layer of confidence.
Right,
as well,
absolutely.
and gives like a credibility.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a long-term goal would be for us obviously to become a distributor, and for those companies to then actually start saying, we're going to switch where we get AdoptOpenJDK from, or OpenJDK, we're going to use AdoptOpenJDK. And we've got a whole host of sort of ways of getting OpenJDK right now. We've got the API, the website. We're starting to build Debian files. We're doing installers, all that sort of stuff. But if we can start getting those infrastructure providers to actually say, yeah, we are happy with what AdoptOpenJDK is building, then that obviously is a big step in the roadmap, because it means that they will start, and that's a big customer base.
Yeah. And so do you see any additional benefits for the community, like in terms of if the community wants to get involved? What would they benefit, like individuals from the community and maybe even companies?
Sure.
What do they benefit? Like, are the low-hanging fruits useful for people to get involved with? And
absolutely, I think it's important. With any large open source project, it can be kind of daunting when you start, and so we're trying to have a system where you can come in and really quickly get started, get running, and so we want to basically have a really simple setup, and where as a developer they can come along and from a very standing start they can they know how this is working, how that's working. Now, coming and working in the open source is fantastic, because you actually get so much exposure to the wider community. So, I'm talking about contacting companies and working with companies that I would never work with in my normal day-to-day job.
Sure. But also the tech stack is quite rich as well, isn't it? You've got Jenkins, Docker, you've got the whole variety of platforms and operating systems. The matrix of that is innumerable.
We've got a really good number of machines. We're still seeking more, but we've got Mac OS coverage, Windows, Linux, and we've even got the obscure ones. We've got the mainframes, the AIX, ARM Linux,
ARM 64,
absolutely. And so
all of that you would never get access to, like in any project.
Yeah, we're talking about thousands of dollars a kit, and that's obviously something that, as an open source project, we couldn't pay for. So, we really do, as I say, we really do rely on the donations that we currently receive.
And in return, they learn from using system and the exposure and the people and how the build system works on it, and how Java itself reacts and responds on these systems. And
and we're really keen to obviously promote those companies for helping us. So we're looking at ways of using social media to help them out. Today in my talk, I made a point of actually going through and just thanking the providers that we currently had. And that's really important. And also, what it means for a company is, when we're working with issues and we're giving developers access to these machines, they're obviously getting exposure to these machines. And so what we're actually finding is that devs are then going off and spinning up machines at the same place, or using these infrastructure providers to then deploy their stack. And what that, of course, then means as a developer, they're going back to their company and saying, well, this worked really well, or that didn't work. And so I think it's kind of a chain of events, but you can actually get some really good
feedback from that helps validate and authenticate
absolutely,
and give you some credibility for what you're doing. I mean, just now it's IBM and the LJC has been involved since the beginning, and LJC is now constantly also supporting this project. So we are actually looking forward to more community involvement, right? More jugs and smaller non-profit or even commercial organizations to get involved.
Absolutely. We're looking for as widely coverage as possible. We want to see, other companies getting on board and backing what we're doing. That's important to us. Because without the companies backing us, as I say, we wouldn't have
the communities as well. Like the community at large is going to be the ones who are going to be using it and telling us how it's going and how it should be done, what's working well, what's not.
No, absolutely, I agree.
So if I have to ask you roadmap questions, like pick one thing from the roadmap that's the next thing that you're targeting, and that's going to be good for everybody, community, company, and pick one thing from your own personal thing that may be part of the roadmap or not part of the roadmap, but part of the project activity that you're doing that's going to be good for. So what are those things?
So I'm going to pick two. So I think there's two really key things in the roadmap right now. And it's
the general roadmap.
It's getting really good build and test coverage. We want to have as many build machines and test machines, and really define what a test is and what that standard of quality of binary is. But also, I think getting a proper JDK 8 build sort of put up and run to a certain standard is really important to us, because we want developers to know that we are there. We've got OpenJDK 8, and it won't be going anywhere anytime soon.
Sure. Not just the TCK tests, but above and beyond that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an entire sort of sandwich stack of tests. The TCK is just one of them.
One of them,
we've got performance tests. We've got a whole host of JT Reg stuff.
I think the test repo is twice the size of the build repo.
It's incredible. I mean, the work that Shelley's...
There's lots more work done in the test repo than in the build repo, I would say. There was a lot of work done in the beginning in the build repo, and now the work's...
Yeah, the work that Shelley's been heading up in the test repo is really
Sophia
impressive.
And Shelley among
and
the
Sophia,
others.
yes.
And there's help from Oracle as well.
Yes.
Mohammed is helping.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yes.
a few other people from different companies.
That's really important. But I think a personal sort of roadmap goal, as I said before, is we want to basically get to a point where we're okay and we can go back to the infrastructure providers and say, it's ready. We're ready. We want you to start adopting our OpenJDK. Because I think until those large providers are saying, yeah, it's okay, and they're providing our binaries to developers by default, that's kind of the step where I think we will have hit the original mountain climb, and we'll become a trusted source. A
trusted, credible source that people can lean on to in times of non-LTS support, or in times of when they don't have an option to go for commercial support, but at the same time they need the support.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think that all sounds really good and achievable, and there's lots of low-hanging fruits for individuals and communities. And
get involved. We've got we've got a Slack channel, we've got the GitHub repo, there's the website. It all explains AdoptOpenJDK.net.
Sure, and you're going to be tweeting all of that with your
we'll be tweeting up hashtags and stuff.
Perfect. You can expect retweets and likes and
absolutely
sharings in different social media communities.
Yeah, brilliant.
Cool. George, fantastic talking to you.
Thanks. Take care, Mani.
Have a nice time the next today and the rest of the day today and tomorrow at Devoxx.
Brilliant.
And,
you too, Mani.
Keep up the good work at the Build Farm.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cool. Cheers, Sam.